Hey, it's Jeff at 650 Cycle. This morning, riding a Yamaha FJ-09. Looks like somebody's getting a new car this morning. Why am I on an FJ-09? Well, my son-in-law has one, so I'm riding his on the commute this morning just to try it out. He's had it for a year, and I've not been on it until last night when I picked it up, so it's a pretty amazing bike, and we'll get into that. And it's more than just a non-sport bike gushing about this thing. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. A little adrenaline rush first thing in the morning. So a little bit about the FJ-09, the little bit that I know about the FJ-09. It has, I looked it up, it has it's rated at like 115 horsepower. 64 pounds of torque, 62 foot-pounds of torque. I feel like they work so well together, but I really feel like there's more torque to this engine than what they let on. These mirrors are about as useless as the ones on the Honda. Out of all the bikes I've ridden recently, the best mirrors, they're on the Harley. I do like that I have a gear shift indicator and I don't have to upshift when I'm already in top gear. Found myself doing that on the FZ. I will refer to it as the FZ6R or Alex's bike. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Alex's bike. This bike is apparently based on the MT-09, which is a sport bike. A little different tuning. I couldn't imagine the tuning on the MT-09. I just really can't. This bike is it is so much different than Alex's bike. It's peppy in the same way, but it seems to have more torque, and it pulls hard. Like Alex's bike pulls, and it pulls good, but this one just seems to pull hard. And we're gonna find out because I'm not driving 50. Cornering, I'm gonna say not quite the same feeling. Comfortable and confident in the cornering. But that FZ, I tell you what, it just rolls into the corner so beautifully. And this does as well, but just has a different feel about it. Like I said, still confident, but this is missing a windshield. Apparently somebody knocked it off in the garage this winter. She sparks right up. I really like the riding position on this. It is more upright. I just feel like my legs aren't as scrunched up like they are on the Honda. Obviously this one's got a taller seat height because when I'm standing at a stop sign, I'm standing. My feet are flat, my knees are not bent, and I'm planted on that seat to get flat-footed. It's a tall bike, but my son-in-law's tall. He's, I don't know, 6'2", 6'3", so he needs that height for him to be comfortable. So he picked a good bike because it is taller. I was saying with the FZ, this thing is really nice for just around town. I think it's better than the FZ. It seems more comfortable in that low range and that low RPM, like slower speed stuff, like you would commute or around town. It just seems more comfortable there. The FZ is like just begging. It's just begging to go and begging to corner. And this thing seems a little more, I don't know if I want to say docile, but happier at the lower RPMs. Not that there was anything wrong with the way the FZ was at the lower RPMs, but this bike just feels better, happier. I was going to take that road, but because you can stretch it out in the speed limit of 75, but they're working on it, and it's a complete traffic jam up until this point. You're not doing more than 40 miles an hour up through there, and it's going to be like that all summer, which it needs fixed. Trust me, that section of road is not in the greatest of shape. They got a couple overpasses they're working on, so it all needs done, but it pushes a lot of traffic up on the road that goes right in front of my house. I think this thing, I have a lot of wind hitting me right in the face right now, so with that windscreen on there, I think that would push that up and over, and that part of it would be a little much more comfortable. I'm not sure if Yamaha knew what they were building when they built this, in the sense that I think they were like, well, let's try this, because it's not an adventure touring bike, it's not a sport touring bike. You know, what is it? It could very easily be either one of those, and do it comfortably. I think if you put a set of, like, I don't know what they call them, all-terrains in my world, you put a set of those on it, and you could do some, like, two-track and that kind of stuff. I don't know if I'd do heavy trail use with it. I'm sure people have. The other thing is, this thing has some aftermarket bags on it, some shad bags, shed saddlebags, and a trunk on it for it. The trunk's not on it right now, but they're pretty nice. They're very well built. Yeah, sitting at this stoplight, I am flat-footed, and if I was like like if I was sitting on the side of a hill, if it was slanted, I'd have a little trouble. I feel like a little kid sitting in the dining room chair. No, those bags fit this bike really nice. They look good on this bike. And they're proportional to this bike. That's why I didn't want to buy something like that for the Honda, because they just don't look proportional on that bike. That bike's a smaller bike, it's a smaller frame, and they would just look big and bulbous on there. I'm not saying what I have on there looks fantastic. I like it, I think it works. Compared to what I'm used to, they're small, but I just have to adapt to that, and I have been, so. But we're not talking about the Honda, we're talking about the Yamaha FJ-09. There's deer out there yesterday or the day before. There was deer up in those little trees. I think it must be the exhaust note between this and Alex's bike is the fact that this seems more docile and at home at this lower RPM and lower speed. I mean, I'm doing 40, and on his bike that muffler is just, yeah, it has a sweet sound when you crack it open, but this one's just milder. Not boring mild, not vanilla ice cream mild. This thing will very easily lift the front end up, first and second gear. I do believe probably third gear. I'm not a wheelie person, so I don't want to even try that. But without even trying very hard, it feels like that front end's coming up. So I did that on the FZ. I was pulling hard one time off of a stop sign up. I made a left and was pulling on it, and I felt the front end come up, not substantially, but you know, when you're used to an 800-pound Harley Davidson, you're used to both wheels being firmly planted on the ground, and that front end come up, and it startled me somewhat. Oh, I would love to get in front of those trucks up there. Like right there, just that little bit of roll on, it felt like that front end wanted to come up. It felt like it was coming up. And like I said, I'm not a wheelie guy, so I don't want that happening at all. I just don't feel like that's something that I could manage. Bike has pretty good balance on stops like that. Pretty easy to manage slow speed. Not breaking the speed limit right now. Just getting around the slow people that don't know what the speed limit is. I could have been up to that light by now. One of those situations where I could have been up there and stopped, and then everybody would catch me, and then I'd get up to the next one and stop, and then everybody would catch me. So I'll just be the guy that just rolls with it. Seems like maybe he wanted to come over, so I'm gonna get out of his blind spot. Yep, he's moving over. Nice big sweeper, or sleeper. Not really all that exciting. Oh good, we don't have a ton of traffic down here this morning. And there's no Pat's Great All gravel trains rolling through like there have been the past couple mornings. Yep, I thought that guy on the left was turning. He had his blinker on a while back. He was lost. Yes, I definitely do like the seating position. The handlebars are up more. And I've been looking at bar risers for the Honda, and it's like, man, I just don't know if that's what it needs. But I'm going to order some because I really think that's what it needs to get me up off the handlebar, because I really just feel like I'm pitched forward on that bike a lot of the time. And this bike has some bar risers on it. They're kind of crappy in my opinion because I can easily twist the handlebars around with just sitting on it. So bar risers on the Honda definitely going to happen. You can take it easy on this bike. It's a little easier on this bike than it is Alex's, I think. This is the squirrel guts. It's springtime, everything's nice and green. Leaves are bursting out on them. I've mowed my lawn 3 times already. It's May 1st and I've mowed my lawn 3 times. Not a big fan of having to mow the lawn. Okay, I was about to shift and I looked down at the gear shift indicator and it says that I'm in top gear. So I will not do that embarrassing upshift into 6th gear when I'm already there. My desire is just to tour America's highways, and I think this bike would do that very, very well. The one thing I don't think that it has is cruise control. It might, but I really don't see any controls that would indicate that. And that would be nice if you wanted a touring bike. It's a little bit hard for me, maybe because I'm just not familiar with the bike. Seems a little bit hard to hold it at a speed. I'm trying to hold it at 61, 62. I'm doing okay, but it's kind of lurchy for me. The throttle is very responsive, I should say. And just any little input on it seems to... So that would be something, if you're riding it more often, you would be familiar with that and you'd adjust. I've been riding, I don't know, in the last couple of weeks I've ridden 4 different bikes. And when you ride that many bikes, you don't get the little nuances of them. Super comfortable at this speed. Even without the windshield, I'm not getting a lot of wind. It's like 53 degrees this morning. My legs aren't cold. My hands aren't cold. It's got these nice wind deflector things. I was looking at those thinking that might be nice on the Honda too, because I like to ride it in the cold, and if I get a windscreen, that's going to eliminate a lot of that. And my fingers are usually what gets really cold, so I either need to get some heated gloves or something like that for it. But I don't know. There's a lot I could do that to that bike, but there's a lot that I probably won't do to that bike because I just like riding it. I think my next big purchase for it's going to be a windscreen, and it needs a chain, so maintenance items. There's a Honda Fit. My son-in-law has a Honda Fit. My daughter drives it all the time, and she told me one day everything fits in a Fit, and I saw an ad for one on Marketplace, so I clicked on it, and they were using that tag in the ad. Almost everything fits in a Fit. And it's true. She packs all kinds of stuff in that little car. And one day she calls me, she goes, I'm at Home Depot and I got all my lumber in the car and I don't have room for the kids. Can you come get the kids? So I had to go to Home Depot and get the kids because the lumber was more important, I guess. She's like, no, I had an alternative plan. I was going to buy them Subway and let them sit there and eat subs while I ran at home. I was like, oh, really? You're parents of the year right there, child. This thing is super nice. I could easily ride this all day. You know, I mentioned that the FZ, I don't think I'd want to be on it for an extended period of time. This thing, yeah, I could be on this all day. This is nice. Oh no, we're gonna have to stop. Not a big deal for me. Are you gonna pass me now? We'll see about that. Yep, this is a tall bike. Say goodbye to the red Silverado. Yeah, it's gonna be a while before it catches up to me. Effortlessly. It's not begging for that high RPM like the FZ was. The FZ was like, put me at 11,500 RPMs right now. This one doesn't need to be there. It's making power through the whole power band. There's a wide power band on this thing, and I think they have it dialed in where the torque and the horsepower are just working really well together. This is cross-plane technology, if you know anything about that. And I think Yamaha did a really good job with it. It's a 3-cylinder. And harkens back to the late 70s when they were making XS 750s and 850s that were also 3-cylinders. and those were screaming machines too. Actually, I had an XS 850, and oh no, that's trash. Thought that was a cop up there. I had the XS 850, and Chris had bought that from me, and that was his first bike. And then he upgraded to this, so he stuck with the Yamaha family. This actually is like 847 cc's, so he kind of stayed in that range, and that thing was a pulling beast just like this is, very, very similar. All right, we're coming up on this, on my turn here, and I'm gonna do a hard roll on off this corner as is tradition, and I'm gonna tell you 60 and 80. 60, 80, and the front end came off the ground. It popped up a couple of times. Right there with the FZ, right there with the FZ, for sure. Oh, that is an adrenaline rush. Wow. Yeah, and you know, to get that, to go that fast, and then to turn it off, that's something hard to do, because I could have been at work right now had I not let off. Yeah, wow. Yeah, it's just such a different power, and it's just laid out so different. And like I said, that front end came off the ground. I felt it bounce. Not something I'm used to. Felt good though, felt good. Wow. Yeah, Yamaha did a if you want a sleeper bike, this I think is a sleeper bike. It just is, because it just is. Oh, it's got different ride modes. I'm even in eco mode. Eco mode. Whatever that is. Oh great, I got an audience today. Roll up all stealthy. That's a fun one. That is a fun one, folks. Ain't done yet. Yeah, these are the bigs. It's a nice rack system. Yeah, that's a fun ride right there, folks. I'll get a little bit of my afternoon ride home, and so we'll see you then. Right now, I'm gonna go work for 8 hours. Could have just kept going, but no, I gotta work. Been waiting 8.5 hours for this. It's a little breezy tonight. It's quite blustery. You know what? The sun is directly behind me, shining brightly on this dash. And I can still see it really clearly, so kudos to Yamaha for a nice dash. Maybe it's not the brightest it could be out, but
could have swore when I picked it up last night that the gas was on full. God, thanks a lot. Holy cow. Yeah, that'll wake you up. Brakes work. Well, there's a test of the brakes for you. Apparently I was going faster than she thought I was. Does she not know I'm on a Yamaha FJ-09? I really like that the blinkers are up on top, the signal indicators. Because on the Honda, I have a bad habit of just leaving them on forever. Because the Harley cancels them. Remember this morning I said that I had a hard time maintaining a certain speed. The wind's not helping this afternoon, but it is a little hard to hold speed. I'm kind of hanging with that truck in front of me. I'm bouncing 61 to 63, so that's probably about average for this road. I'm going to make my turn up here, and hopefully I don't get behind Scooter Boy like I did on the FZ video, because he really killed the ride there in the nice curves up there on the river. I was zipping right along, and so was he, and then I think he got scared in the curves and slowed way down. I do love that gear shift indicator. I like it a lot. There's a little something next to it on the dash, but I don't know what any of it does. I don't know how to change any of it. It's not my bike, so I'm not gonna mess with it. All right. Are they turning? Oh good, they went straight. I don't have anybody directly in front of me today. Let's see how the old FJ handles the curves here. So far so good. She leaned right in. On an unfamiliar bike on these curves, I'm going to try holding it about 60. Like I said, this is the fun one. Hard left, hard right. Hard left, hard right. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, this bike handles it good. Yeah, we were somewhere around 60, 56, 63 coming out of it, so. Again, on an unfamiliar bike, I'm not gonna hit it too hard. I'll admit, I'm not the best rider ever, so. As I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, I could have swore the gas gauge was on full yesterday, and I don't think I've gone that far to where I'm down 2 bars off of E. So maybe it wasn't on full, maybe I just looked at it at the wrong time and it was saying full. I'm because Chris rode it yesterday, and I don't really know where he left the gas gauge, so I wouldn't think that he would fill it up on his way home unless it was empty. But it really it's showing me an average, and then like I've been averaging like 50. Yeah, I've had a couple hard pulls, but it's not like I'm screaming around. So this bike's rated for like 42 miles to the gallon. And like riding easy, you could probably push 50. So not really fantastic mileage, but pretty good. And it really shouldn't have gone down that many bars. I don't know. He doesn't seem to have anything else set as far as I always set a trip when I fill it and kind of keep an eye on that. So I don't know if he's done that or not. I don't know what it all means. I think I'm going to try to hit the same route I did on the FZ, which is down River Road, which isn't that spectacular of a river road. As I mentioned in that video, it's just not straight. When you hear River Road, you think of something that follows the river and bends and twists and is kind of fun to ride. And like I said, that one is just kind of not straight. But then we get out on the expressway, and we'll see how the old FJ compares to the old FZ. I think performance-wise, they're pretty similar. They just go about it differently. This light's gonna change on me too. Are we gonna do it? I was half surprised they didn't turn in front of me like everybody else has tonight. Ugh. Coming up on the gauntlet. You can smell it today. If you watch the FZ video, I counted like 7 or 8 carcasses from like this point. Dead deer. I watch for deer in here hard. There's a fresh one up there. I don't think that was there till a couple weeks ago. Alright, we got a green light today. That was a pretty good roll-on, showing from a low RPM to a roll-on and acceleration. She was down about 3,000 RPMs. Come around that corner. I probably should have done one more downshift, but from where it was, rolled on, and she picked power up pretty quickly. That's what I really like about this bike, is it's a little more forgiving in those situations. The Honda, it really isn't, and you can't really. It's not really fair to compare the Honda to this or the FZ, but in the fairness of comparing them, you compare it for what it is. The Honda's a twin, this is a triple. The Honda's a 500, this is a 850, so there's considerable differences. I would expect this to perform like it does, and accept the Honda to perform like it does. Not that it performs badly, but it's taken me a little bit getting used to making sure I'm in the right gear in that situation where I'm rolling around a corner or something. It looked like the Dodge Stratus that we had. I think that was the second worst car I've ever owned. Might have been the first worst car I've ever owned. On the top 3 anyhow. Alright, we're almost up to the section of road where I can stretch this out a bit. I'm going to behave. We'll get it up to speed quickly, and then we're going to run the speed limit. We are not taking the expressway like I did on the FZ, simply because they're working on it, and I know it's an absolute mess. I find myself doing this with the throttle on this, and I don't know, it's just a sensitive throttle, and I mentioned it this morning, but I'm still doing it. It's real hard to find that sweet spot where you can just do a minute adjustment on it and get it to do what you want. It seems like it's more of a on-off type thing. Not bad, but I'm sure if I rode this a lot, I would get used to it. Oh, look at there, Rivian, and he's got a custom plate. It says Bat Power. I think I could take him with my ICE. Should I blow by him? Let him know who's boss? All right, we're rolling around, we're rolling into it. Here we go. I think this bike pulls just as hard as the FC, but it's a different kind of pull. It just has a different feel. It seems like it's a more controlled, I don't want to say mild, but it's a more controlled roll-on. Like the FC, you hit it up into the 11,000 RPMs, you know it, and it's exciting, and you can feel it. And on this one, it's there, you know it. It's just a different feeling, and I like the feeling on both of them because they are incredibly quick. But it just amazes me that two bikes made by the same company are so much the same yet so different, and they're both incredibly fun to ride. I messaged my son-in-law this morning. I said, that bike is fun. And it is. It is an incredibly fun bike. It's super windy out here today, so I'm not getting too crazy. There's a great on-ramp. If you're on 10 and you're going east and you turn south on 47, that on-ramp is just amazing, or off-ramp, or whatever you want to call it. It's a hard sweeper, and it's always my goal to take it as fast as I can. Although I don't think I would go super fast on this bike. I've had bikes that I've taken it seemingly fast, and it was fast for those bikes, but it's like you really feel it, and you can really get some lean on, and it feels good. It's fun. Oh, my garage door is open, which means Mama's home. It's kind of early. Hopefully I didn't leave it open today. Oh good, she is home. I didn't leave it open. I thought I shut it. Would it surprise me if I left it open? No, not really, not at all. Oh, fantastic bike. I really, really like this bike a lot. Hop off and talk about it. Well, there you have it, the FJ-09. It is quite a peppy bike. It has quite a bit of power. It is a fun bike to ride. It seems to be a little bit better on the low end and the commuting than what the FZ is, in my opinion. But it still would compete as far as top end, I believe. It's a nice bike. It's fun to ride. I like it. I think if I could only have one bike, this would probably be the one I would have, because it's a pretty good commuter. It feels like I could probably sit on it for an extended period of time, so touring and stuff would be okay. And it's just fun. It really is. I mean, how can a bike that pulls the front end up unintentionally, how can that not be fun? So I got to get this back over to Chris tonight, and we'll be back on the CB tomorrow. So this particular ride is over and this particular video is over. So if you're out riding, ride safe.